You're listening to Biz-Souls, the business podcast with an edge, hosted by me, Rona Lewis, and Jeffrey Hansler. Tune in for perspectives and discoveries about the changing world of business. It's time to connect to the heart, soul, and humor of how business gets done.
No, you can go.
Okay. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Biz-Souls. I'm Rona Lewis.
I'm Jeffrey Hansler, and we get to the heart and soul of business and the people that make it happen, and we're kind of doing a series today.
Well, we're not doing a series. They're all separate. We decided not to do a series.
Right, because fewer people listen to a
it's
series.
like no one listens to us.
So
when
we'll do them independently. We're just they have threads that continue.
Yeah, so I would say one leads to the other. We just did one on return to office and cutting down people who work and on that.
Wow, that sounds so subliminally negative. Cutting down people. What it is we have our national debt growing at $1 trillion every 100 days, and we've got to find a way to get control of this because it's just going to have a domino effect of problems. And one of the things you do is we've got too many people.
We have to cut jobs,
expenses.
And unfortunately, as companies get flatter, the people who usually have to go are the middle management. So that's what we're talking about.
Today, we're talking about the middle management. And the reason middle management is under threat, and this is everywhere, and this is the government issue as well, is because AI can take care of the standard reporting analysis and stuff that's going on that middle management has been known for years.
And they can do it it can do it faster with less boo-boos.
Yeah, and obviously it's a lot less of a cost. So a little sidebar real quick. So we're in Huntington Beach today. It's February the 2nd, and this will do sometime in the future. There's a race. There's a marathon going on. It's an event. And so I went for a walk this morning, and I came back. And I come back, and they're running down PCH, and there's people on both sides like a parade. And there was a gap. So I step into the gap looking for an opening to get across. And this gal next to me goes, "You push right in front of me and get out of my way. I can't see." And I kind of turned and looked at her, and everybody's in a line. So I don't know. It's like, anyway.
You're 6'4". You're like a freaking wall.
Yeah,
Nobody can see anything.
Anyway. So I crossed over. I was looking to cross and not interfere with any of the runners. And when I crossed, and I was thinking about it, on the boardwalk, when I was walking, I started talking to a bunch of people. Everybody's having a good time. So one of the most important things about this whole thing is, look, there's a lot of change going on. There's a lot of energy. There's going to be a lot of people that don't have a specific place to stay or a job to do. And there's going to be a lot of angst and a lot of fear. And people are going to want to be relevant. Just have a good attitude. This gal was it was a gorgeous day. It's not too cold. The sun was out, and she's miserable. Anyway, let's get on to white collar works and jobs. So
Thank
be
you
happy.
for that riveting story.
Be happy.
Yeah, and it's I understand where you're coming from, and that one of the things that because I teach this stuff so much of the communication.
Teach what stuff?
Let me finish my sentence.
I didn't know.
Things, because you interrupted.
Well, I wanted specifics.
Shush.
Okay.
Shush. I teach things, communication skills, empathy, mirroring, understanding the human condition. Everybody's got a different personality. Everybody has a different background. And AI can't do that. It doesn't have, and I hate the term soft skills because I think they're necessary skills. AI doesn't have empathy. And I think if you get rid of too many of the middle managers where the upper management has a lot of things on their plate, that will, I think employees are going to feel siloed even when they're at work.
Okay, so let me understand this. There's an accident on the road, right? And the paramedics are there, and they're working on the people that have been injured. And there are a lot of people standing around with empathy for the poor people that got hurt.
I don't think
they're not doing any job.
I don't think they're. How do you know that? Well, I don't think that's a good comparison.
Why? What they're look. Organization,
that they're just watching. So you think most middle managers are just watching?
Sure. If your job has changed, if you have computer software can now put it together a better report, it can gather the data, it can gather the other stuff. And
Is that, but I don't think,
and they were doing rote tasks. That's why all the shows in the 70s, 80s, and 90s were about these nowhere jobs that were boring and mind-numbing jobs.
right.
And
And they weren't managers in the mind-numbing jobs.
yeah,
George Costanza was not
he's a middle manager.
manager.
That is what white-collar middle management.
walking around behind their desk looking pissed off.
Yes,
That's what
exactly.
he did in the
It's
show.
middle management. And it's the gal with the red stapler. I can't remember who it was, whatever it was, the guy.
I don't remember.
Jennifer Aniston was in the movie. Anyway, it was funny. It was kind of a funny movie. It was a
Okay.
guy who's a dead-end job. Anyway, so what they're looking at is companies are looking to, and this is what automation is about. It's the same thing in a factory floor. You know, if you've got something that can move the hood and put a bolt into it, 1,000 times a day, it doesn't get tired. It doesn't need a coffee break. It doesn't need anything else. It could do that. And what people should do in planning for this is retool themselves. They should,
They have to upskill. Yeah.
except they're fighting it. So here are these jobs that they've complained about. They say they're mind-numbing, and now they're complaining because somebody's going to take them away. Or they're surprised that somebody's going to take it away. Or they're shocked that they were let go after 25 years because you've been doing the same job
things.
every single day.
Well, that's why I think it's important to keep learning new skills and stay relevant. My dad was a dentist,
Right.
and I think they do it for all kinds of different doctors. That there are classes and conventions, things like that, where they learn the cutting edge ways to do things so that they can stay relevant. And that's what I think managers should do, so that they do have something to do. And even if it's a lateral move or something where they will actually do something instead of, don't just do something, stand there.
Right. And again, the same fact. They're predicting, and they tried to put an analogy on this, that in the next 2 years, business is going to change in what it took 300 years to get to this point.
Yeah.
So we are going to have massive change, and AI is just continuing to grow in this stuff. And it's going to give you a choice so that we could do maybe the more creative jobs, or we could do the empathy jobs where you're getting one party to talk to another party or another perspective when the data, says there are a couple of different ways to go.
So do you think more managers would go into, just leave large corporations and go into the gig economy or something like that? Start their own business?
Technology is going to be one of the places most hit, because that's where a lot of the data analysis and the rote tasks are going. So technology is going to be hit, finance is going to be hit, and healthcare is going to be hit. These are where you've got repetitive tasks that are currently done by human beings. And
You mean like hospital administration? Things
hospital
like that?
administration, yeah. So if you can automate the process,
Right. It would save the hospitals a lot of money.
and somebody's not doing just this mindless job of looking at this stuff, and then maybe they could analyze it and see if there is a pattern on, are these people getting well? Are these people getting sick? Let's analyze it at a different level. So that requires more cognitive processing that would require the human touch.
Okay. So overall, do you feel that AI is going to benefit companies and be a detriment to these middle managers? Or do you see it as an opportunity for middle managers to learn new skills and find something maybe new?
I like the way you phrase that, a detriment to middle management. That was like a bias to say that, technology is just brutal and cruel and it's going to get rid of middle. And then you came back and you said the other way, there's going to be a benefit to it. I think AI is a benefit, and I think this is going to give people a forced choice, unfortunately, for many of them. They're going to have to do something new.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of entrepreneurs. They were in a job, even Tesla. Tesla was working for Thomas Edison, and he was so frustrated, and he basically got fired. Okay. Now, Edison stole his idea and stole something else. When Tesla got fired, that's when his real career took off, because he started doing stuff on his own. He had to get investors and do all the stuff he wasn't very good at. And he struggled with it his whole life, except he had a much more interesting life than just going to the workshop and working for somebody else's idea.
That's kind of what happened to me when I left advertising sales.
Yeah. So do you see that as a benefit? Whatever the reason,
Well,
your
hindsight's also
force changed.
2020. Yes. Yeah. No, I'm very happy with the way things turned out.
Yeah.
Because I don't like when people tell me what to do.
Well, and I think, the reason I told the story about the gal at the parade is she had a choice. She had a choice to be happy or be miserable. And she was miserable and trying to make me miserable. And
you're miserable anyway, so why
exactly.
push it?
And that goes on at work all the time. That somebody who's insecure, what's the number one human reaction to fear? Control.
Right.
And how do we get control? A lot of people do it with politics. They do it with overpowering somebody. They do it with abusing somebody.
They do it with
being
fear.
rude to them. Yeah, fear. Oh, we're going to talk about HR in a little bit. All right.
There's a little fear there. Anything else?
Well, in terms of what can they do now, let's get specific. So,
okay.
What could white collar? If you're in a position, first of all, I think the first thing they should do is evaluate their own job. Are they enjoying their job, and do they get a lot from it?
Okay.
If they do enjoy the job and get a lot from it, what is it particular that they enjoy about it, not just the whole job? And so then they have to have kind of a creative thing. Well, is there another place I could get the same positive feedback from doing a similar task that would be in a different job? So the problem happens when somebody's afraid to leave their job. They don't like the job, and they don't know, they don't make a choice. And so the choice is made for them. And that's where a lot of people go away. So
basically what you're saying is be proactive.
Be proactive, be aware of what you like, start evaluating, really sit down and start thinking about what is it I like about this job, what and compared to another thing, what are the things I'd like to do and what are the things I believe and what do I think I could accomplish and what risks I'm going to take. Now,
my mom was an interior designer and she always said, people don't necessarily know what they like. They know what they don't like. And she would have them write down what colors they don't like, what styles, and that in and of itself, they were able to narrow it down to help them move forward. And perhaps that's a good way to think of, and people are hardwired for negativity anyway. So be cranky first and then write it all down. And then, okay, this is the stuff that I hate, even if it's two things you like. And then what if you could do anything, just play with it.
Right.
And if you could do anything, what would you want to do? And see if you can come up with, and put them together to see if you can figure out something that would be great for you.
That was excellent. I really enjoyed that. And I was looking around looking at our analytics for our podcast, and most of our listeners are women. So they're going to they're going to relate to that.
I hope so. Yeah.
As opposed to mean old me over here going, do
Such
this.
a man.
Exactly.
Anyway, so I think there's definitely hope, and I think that we have to be creative in how we see our jobs in middle management.
Correct, and they are going to change.
Yeah.
Because organizations are going to have revenue could drop in a lot of areas, especially if they cut federal workers out, there's a good chance they're going to have less projects going on. So revenue could drop at a bunch of different companies. On the other hand, it could also go up because some things will have to be outsourced, which I think a flexible model is much better going forward.
I think anything where you can be flexible and be fluid and kind of see what happens. A my way or the highway approach very rarely works all in.
Yeah, what was the expression I heard? Government for life. And the idea was once government created a position, that job had to go. Everybody's afraid to get rid of it.
Yeah.
And
that's just it's not the way of the world now. We are changing exponentially, and I think business has to follow suit.
So you've been asking all the good questions. Any final comment, any final remark or question or something we didn't talk about in this?
No, I think the last thing I said was if you can find things that you love in what you're doing, combining with what you love that you're not doing,
right,
perhaps you will find something that is doable in your business long term or on your own or for another company.
Yeah. And just think, just a final comment. When you think about a podcast, think of all the people doing podcasts now. All these people that had a news store or they were on a talk show or something else. Now they're doing podcasts because they got downsized for one reason or another. Yeah. And so they had to change. And we do consulting and we do teaching and instruction. And a lot of people are going, hey, why do I need a live teacher? I'll just have AI create it, do a PowerPoint, and I don't need you. So we have to constantly retool as well. Exactly. And I think that's one thing we do. We're constantly learning and working on it. And I find great joy in that. That's one of the things I like about what I do.
He's always reading books on the next best thing or things like that.
As you are too.
I do, yes. I read fiction as well because sometimes my head hurts and I need escapism. That's why I have all this hair. I have a teeny weeny head. Anyway, all right. If you liked what we're doing, please like and subscribe. It really helps our numbers. If you have a subject that is not covered or we haven't covered that you want us to talk about, let us know too in the comments. That's all I got.
Exactly. And it involves peanut butter and honey. That also works for our subject.
I like jelly better than honey, but I like peanut butter. All right. That's it for us. I'm Rona Lewis.
I'm Jeffrey Hansler.
This has been Biz-Souls. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
You've been listening to the Biz-Souls Podcast with your hosts, Rona Lewis and Jeffrey Hansler. Did you have fun? Subscribe, rate, and leave a review. It's very much appreciated. Talk to you next week.